Hmm. Okay, so let's share with you the screen. So last time we start from here. You can hear Nathan. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's start with let's see. Yeah, Miss Kason, you would like to start? Oh, sorry. Yeah, this one. Can you see us so small? That's good.
Buddhism in practice,
Rồi.
entering the path. How does one become a Buddhist? This
Rồi, tí
question
rồi. Okay.
has taken on a new
Right.
significance as Buddhism has become more widely known in practice outside
Okay.
Asian cultures where it had long been a dominant faith. For example, the question may be posed by someone who knows of Buddhism only through reading a book or browsing an internet site, and this person may think of Buddhism as a set of ideas that one either simply affirms or rejects. The question takes on a different meaning when asked in communities where Buddhist teachings and practices have long been exercised a deep and pervasive influence on the dominant culture, and where children are customarily brought up with the tradition.
Okay.
So here in the West, particularly because of Christianity, Judaism, Islam, most people think of Buddhism as another set of ideas or set of rules that you would have to follow, rather than a set of ideas to experiment with. So, in Eastern cultures, obviously, kids are brought up around it, so they understand that it's more about the path rather than the answer.
So last Monday, right? Yeah, last Monday. Is that Monday? Yeah,
when
yes.
you took refuge,
The one that came from South, right? Is that Monday, right?
I think it was Monday.
Monday, yeah. Yeah, the whole family came up here for one gentleman. Yeah, he was Caucasian, and his girlfriend is Vietnamese Buddhist. So somehow he came along and made a vow to become Buddhist. Yeah, long way down from down there up to here, because over there they have a temple, but most of the time they can speak Vietnamese. It's not easy for them to follow through. And that's why he came here. Yeah. And most of the center around here, even around here too, if you go, people can speak Vietnamese.
Speak English?
Burmese.
I don't think any of the Burmese monks speak.
Just basic conversation.
Yeah. There's a little temple over on 6th Street, I think. And that's almost all Vietnamese too.
Yeah, I know. That's why I reserve Friday night and Saturday morning for English speaking, so that you can feel comfortable with, can work together.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. Yeah. Yeah, Nathan. So you spent overnight here, right? Last week, right, Nathan? Nathan, sorry. How was that? It's different from the temple down there, right? In St. Louis?
Yeah, there's nowhere to stay in the temples in St. Louis.
Yeah, you're welcome to come here and stay. You're still single, so you're welcome to stay here anytime you would like to. Since you work online, right? You can
Yes.
move around easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's just very convenient, convenient for the Buddhist people. You can study online, you can come to center. Of course, when you study face to face, right, in person, more effective. We have the type of in person conversation is more effective. Uh, so okay, it's be along. Right, go ahead.
My answer to this question is the following. You take the triple refuge. What, however, does refuge mean in its context? And what is meant by taking refuge in three entities, often characterized in Buddhist texts as the triple gem? Clearly, it is impossible to generalize about what this right means to any given Buddhist who may think about it differently at various points in their life. Nevertheless, it is clear that the ritual potentially marks a significant reorientation in the lives of those who, by means of it, place themselves in a relationship of dependence upon the perfectly enlightened Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The community of Buddhists, this is the term that can refer to both the monastic community as a whole and to the elite group of Buddhists who have reached a high level of realization. Seen within the context of countless past and future lives, the taking of the triple refuge can mark a point at which one fundamentally redirects one's life course from ceaseless wandering and onto the middle path leading to nirvana. To use a common Buddhist metaphor, it places one upon a raft that ferries one safely across the vast ocean of samsara.
Can you summarize that?
The right of taking the triple gem can be generally seen as a particular point in a person's life that they decide that they want to fully dedicate themselves to following the middle path and reaching enlightenment.
You know what's the middle path? What mean?
The middle path is it's the middle between the two extremes of anything as opposed to the Buddha came up with it as opposed to like asceticism of just like living in the forest, not doing anything, just being totally skin and bones, or living totally lavish, luxurious lives, consumed with materialism and stuff.
Nathan, can you hear Jerry?
A bit. It's a little bit hard.
Be hard, huh? So you've been in Taiwan, right, for 5 or 6 years, right?
4.
Oh, 4 years. So you stay in the monastery or or in the lay people house?
Sometime in the monastery, but mostly in an apartment.
Apartment. How was that?
The monastery?
Yeah. What's a big difference?
Very strict.
Strict. How strict they are?
Depending on what we were doing, like every minute of every day is scheduled, and if you're late, then they come and they say, "Hey, hurry up, we gotta go. We got things to do." So like, there's not one moment where you can like just sit there and do whatever you want.
Really? Just for one shrine temple?
Yeah.
So every day they have like people staying there. I mean that the American or the foreign student or the local people too.
Yeah, I guess you can stay. Like, so when I stayed, it was on a retreat, so it's strict on
Oh.
retreat. But there are lay people who stay and kind of work there, like the people who help with the kitchen and everything like that. And it's more normal. They don't have to have every minute scheduled.
So doing the retreat is that one week, 2 weeks, or 1 month?
I did 1 month.
Really? How many of you were there?
I think there were, if I remember correctly, 65.
Oh, 65. Wow. Okay. Wow, that's great then. Okay. So, see here. Oh, so you understand what's meant by middle path?
I like to think I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the path because before the Buddha attained enlightenment, he was um, living a lavish lifestyle with all comforts, basically. And then he went and practiced ascetic practices out. I don't know if I should keep talking or not.
I think it'll keep going. Yeah, since it's recording.
We're listening.
Okay. Well, so I was just gonna say, like before, he lived a very lavish lifestyle, and then he went out and practiced for like 6 years, I believe, doing various ascetic practices, and found them to be almost not conducive to enlightenment. And he almost died, if I remember correctly. And then he was given some food, and then after that, he found the middle path between extreme asceticism and, um, I guess, indulgence. Or
So in life, how could you balance out by
in my life,
how could you balance out? I mean, that the secular life and spiritual life.
um, I guess personally, I think that you can kind of bring in spiritual practices into your daily routine and try and strengthen your resolve to your practice and to benefit sentient beings, and kind of take steps every day to be as practice as much as you can. But I think there's always going to be a compromise. If you're a lay person, then you always have to deal with the lay life, right? Your job or all of those other things. So
About when you over there, you have only one, I mean, a few friends, right? I mean, Buddhist friends, right? So not many of them that may give you spiritual support. How could you handle them?
well, I think I go to the temple often and receive spiritual support through um, the temple. But also, it's good to just, even one spiritual friend is quite beneficial for support. So as long as they're encouraging somebody to keep to their practice, then it's beneficial than having none, more beneficial than having none. So
Yeah, that's why you need to come here frequently to do meditation with us on Friday and Saturday then.
yeah. I'm thinking maybe um, I think in like 2 weeks I will have more time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, please, can you see? Rim Thầy Ráp ra.
There are a lot of Buddhist communities where membership of the monastic community must fit in the better regarded as a necessity, as necessary condition for the effective practice of meditation and for rapid progress along the middle path. There has been a clear distinction between what taking refuge means for lay people and for monks and nuns. For this latter group, ordination into the Sangha represents more advanced taking of refuge, one accompanied by a dramatic severing of conventional social ties and close adherence to the code of monastic discipline established by the Buddha.
You follow?
Yeah. Sounds like in the specific Theravada Buddhist community, the middle path through, I guess, what the refuge is just a little more strict for the higher, you know, the ones with more responsibility. Perhaps, you know, the lay people, not as much.
You follow with yes? You know, Miss Nia, you know Westminster Theravada, right?
Between Theravada and Mahayana.
Is it a different?
They originate from different areas and they have different approaches to being a bodhisattva.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Can you speak?
So Theravada is probably the closest to historical Buddhism. That's the lineage where they used the language of the Buddha and then eventually recorded the language of the Buddha. So if you ever speak to them, they say so it's very, very orthodox, and it's so you do the monastics do look to attain Buddhahood. They don't. I don't think do any of them take a bodhisattva vow? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think that's not really something they do, and they don't acknowledge the Buddha as the bodhisattva.
Okay.
But so yeah, it's a very orthodox version. Pardon?
Conservative to say?
It's extremely conservative. And so it's really more focused on the monks and the nuns attaining Buddhahood, and then the role of the community is to serve the monks and the nuns looking to attain. So as a lay person, you get your merit kind of through serving the monks and nuns rather than being an intense practitioner. Now, if you're a more intense practitioner, you could go and take more vows in that community, but for the most part, it's mostly for the monks and nuns and then the community to, yeah, and then
is that mostly in India?
It's all over
Right
South
here.
Asia.
Right here, this one here, you see
Yeah.
this? Right here, you see the church?
India, Thailand,
Right here. Yeah.
Bangladesh. So those are all
Right here.
very traditional areas that you see that. So the Mahayana is predominantly further east.
Oh, goodness.
So that's where you start seeing these representations of like these Chinese looking, because of course it's predominantly it's made from the China, not made, but the Chinese canon is what they.
So Nathan, sorry, you understand the difference between Theravada and Mahayana? You follow her? You heard about this or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard her. Yes.
Oh, okay. So, but you understand the difference?
I hope so. Generally.
Yeah, they are the main difference here. This one is the main difference here. So here they believe only historical Buddha. To achieve enlightenment, you must be a monk or nun. So you have to give up everything. They believe that it's up to oneself to attain nirvana. There's no help except yourself. That's different from Mahayana. So along historical Buddha, we have celestial Buddha and Bodhisattva. So everyone can attain nirvana. Everyone even attain the Buddhahood, become Buddha.
Yeah,
so
the Theravada,
that's the difference.
The Theravadins will tell you the Buddha is long gone. He left his teaching, but the Buddha is not going to save you. The Buddha is not going to help you. You advance through your own detachment.
More work, yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is here, both traditions start around the 3rd or 2nd century BCE. But the Theravada is like more conservative, behind it more liberal. So the Theravada does mean the way of the elders, and the Theravada tradition they focus on Pali, and Mahayana tradition they focus on the Sanskrit, the same Indian languages too. It's the same root. But they talk more about the way of life. Anyone can attain Buddhahood, whether the ant, the bug, the cow. But in the Theravada tradition, no, you have to be monks in order to attain Nirvana, the highest state of Nirvana. For lay people, they can attain to the 3rd state of Nirvana, 3rd state of Arhatship, but not for the 4th. The 4th, you need to give up everything. But in the Mahayana tradition, no, you can be lay person, you can act follow the Buddhist path to help people while you do the practice. So like that's why it spread more rapidly than the Theravada one, because it's more conservative. Yeah. Yeah. In Theravada tradition, most time it focused on the monastic, on the monks. Everything revolve around the monks, about the temple. In Mahayana tradition like us, we focus on everyone, the whole communities. That's why you see we have after school program here, we have the children stay here, and so forth.
You know, they have an American version, it's an American type of Buddhism they call secular Buddhism.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's pretty much Theravada, but not, you know, it's Theravada is pretty strict of most of your celestial stuff, and hell, you know, there's really not much acknowledgement of that at all. But but the way that does translate really well into the United States or in the Western culture is that they can take that and use it like in medical practice. They can, so that's kind of how that, and I mean, it's super brand new, but
you can check like that. Yeah, I'll do this to good.
Well, it's so that they can, you know, because it's so that they can use it in medical practices and have like your psychiatrist charging money for it. Not that I'm saying it's greedy or bad, but I'm just saying that it's an American path of Buddhism that if you really want to reject any sort of cultural influences of Buddhism, it's a very sterilized Western version.
Yeah. So here's the famous one.
Yeah.
So on Kabat, he's the one that postulate MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction in the 70, you know, back in 70. At that time, no one knew what's meant by meditation. But later on, nowadays, it's so popular. Yeah. But he was a former Buddhist monk in Theravada tradition. In Theravada tradition, you can be Buddhist monk for short periods of time. 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and after that, you can go back. Even in Mahayana tradition too, but it's not quite often like the Theravada ones. Yeah, and the one Nathan you follow, right? The one that what you call headspace.
The app.
Yes, and he his name, the founder, the founder of Andy, him. He was a Buddhist monk too in Theravada traditions, and somehow he went back and created this type of headspace. It's so popular now.
So it does translate. It just kind of translates. It translates a little differently. Where like the Mahayana have all these wonderful celestial beings. If you really want like something to believe in and talk to or whatever, and then of course the idea that you're gonna be able to attain something. Pretty much, you go to the Theravada tradition, you know you're just so far off. from much attainment.
You see here, his app is more over 60 million people follow. Right here, this you heard about that, right? Heard about the hashtag?
What is that?
Yeah, they have, you can even watch it on Netflix. He's got there's some like Netflix shows that he has.
Mm-hmm.
It's an app, and they teach you how to. They're like guided. Not that I've used it, but from my understanding, I've watched the Netflix shows, and he has this really wonderful soothing voice, and he guides you through Buddhist practice, but it's very simple and
down to earth.
Yeah, down to earth. You know, you don't. It's not really even presented to you as Buddhism. It's just presented to you in a way that for you to be calm and how to calm down your mind and how to not act out anger.
Yeah.
Do you think that show's called? It sounds really nice.
It's
Where's that?
on the Netflix show. There's a Netflix show that you
Okay.
It is really good, and especially if you're.
Yeah. You can show her like, okay, can you read this one? The next one. Yeah. Mahayana.
In Mahayana Buddhist communities, the triple refuge takes on related but nevertheless distinct associations. The jewel of the Buddha.
Let me make it small so I can see. All right here. Small, too small for you.
May mean perfect. Yep. May mean not Gautama Buddha, but one or more of a great number of other Buddhas who are accessible to those following the middle path. Refuge in Dharma in this context includes reliance upon expanded collections of authoritative teachings that differ from those accepted by the followers of the Theravada. Also numbered among the membership of the Sangha are Bodhisattvas, upon whom followers of the Mahayana rely for assistance in their own progress toward perfect enlightenment. So essentially, I read the words and I understand them, but I don't know if I can actually.
Sure. Yeah. Miss Kirsten, you like to someone?
So the in Theravada tradition, like we said, so you'll hear the historical Buddha referred to as Gautama Buddha or Siddhartha Buddha. And so it's just kind of like what we were talking about is how in Theravada traditions, they only look to the teachings of the Buddha. They don't even look to the Buddha necessarily other than like reverence. It's just the teaching, the path to.
So is it like the secular that we were just talking about?
No, that's different. This is more conservative.
The conservative Orthodox Buddhism. And then
for the Mahayana is different. Yeah. It accept the red number of the celestial Buddha and Bodhisattva. Like we have you see mandala? That's what they call the medicine master Buddha, who have the Buddha land in the east, not in the west, who create the Buddha land there so that people can go there to practice. So Nathan, when you were in Taiwan, most of the time you decide in English or Chinese?
Chinese.
Chinese? And they spoke English or they spoke Chinese?
To me?
No, everyone in the retreat?
Oh, I went on different retreats. The month-long one, everybody was speaking English, but we still recited in Chinese.
Can you follow?
Yeah, it's there's translations that you can read after or before. But then other retreats, it was all Chinese.
All Chinese. You feel been left out, or no problem for you to merge with them? When they spoke all Chinese, they recite all in Chinese.
When I first joined, I struggled with the language barrier and the cultural differences, but over time, I've become more comfortable, and now I enjoy chanting in Chinese and speaking Chinese. So
That's nice. Yeah. So but you understand this is all kind of celestial Buddhas, right? Amazing
yes,
Master Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, right, and so forth, right?
yes,
Yeah. You seen the mandala before you left, right?
yes, I did. I was very fortunate to
Mhm.
see the
Yeah.
mandala.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was here for the ceremony, the prayer when they came in, when they prayed at it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so that's why it's just all kind of celestial Buddha and Bodhisattva involved. So in the front we have the two Bodhisattva there. Yeah. Okay. You like to read?
Sure.
Among followers.
Among the followers of the Vajrayana, is that how you say that?
Yeah,
Vajrayana?
Vajrayana.
The form of Buddhism most commonly associated with Tibet, progress towards enlightenment includes a succession of esoteric initiations that mark special relationships with particular teachers, bodhisattvas, and Buddhas.
It's okay. Have you heard? That's okay. Have you heard about this Vajrayana?
I've heard of it.
What's about?
It's the Tibetan version,
Mhm.
and I've only seen photographs where they have really neat outfits and big crazy hats, and they're having all kinds of esoteric ceremonies.
You didn't come last week, right? They were here.
No.
They were
Were
here.
they?
Yeah, they did the mandala.
Oh.
Yeah. And most of the time they focus on visualization of mandala, of Buddha, Bodhisattva, or mantra, or deciding this mantra.
Okay.
That's what they call the secret tradition.
Deciding on your mantra.
Well, they take something called, I don't know. Well, I don't know all of them. This is some of them, but I believe they take like the guru vow, which so Vajrayana is very much also a combination of the Indic, those northern Indic practices combined with Buddhism. So that's where you get a lot of those other different type looking Buddhas, and right, they visualize them and all sorts of things. But so you get this guru who kind of monitors your progress and gives you special teachings as you kind of go up. I met well, he was actually Vietnamese, but he practiced with this Tibetan, and him and his master have been on 7 years of silence. So we were like the first people that he had talked to about. So within that 7 years, like he wasn't allowed to cut his finger. I don't know if it wasn't the whole time, but like for a long time, he wasn't allowed to cut his hair or shave, cut his nails. His nails are gotten rid of. So obviously that takes a lot of
determination.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was, and it was, I felt like when I was around him, and then his guru, so that his lama, yeah, it was a lama actually. So, but you just got this. You could kind of tell, even though he didn't speak English, the lama. You just had the sense that he was somewhere a little different than the rest of us. I mean, he gave us a speech in Tibetan, and I was so like deeply like moved, emotionally moved. I had no idea, but I was still like, it just felt really powerful or whatever.
Jerry, did you see how they make mandala?
I saw the video
during the weekday or on on Saturday? When did you come here last week?
Last week I was here Friday to Sunday.
Friday and Sunday. On Friday you saw them how they make it.
I didn't see them making it, but I saw the video that
Okay. You seen how they did? Yeah, it's very detailed work. Yeah.
I haven't seen, I think, a video of like some fraud.
Mm-hmm. They tap it, they tap it, and they use
Well, they
sand
say
color.
it's corrugated, and then they rub the thing on there, which vibrates this tube. That moves over there.
Moves the sand down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're supposed to destroy it, but we ask them to keep here
Yeah.
for blessing. Yeah.
So that's like the way
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will have something to cover them. Is that the first time, Nathan, you saw them how to make it?
I didn't get to see them make it. I just saw the final product, but that's the first time I've seen one in person.
You saw them did that or no? Or you just saw the whole thing?
It was finished.
Were you there?
I didn't see them make it. I just saw the final when the last day when they chanted and moved it.
Okay, let's just see.
Do the Taiwan monks come often?
No, they could come here once in a while. Yeah, let's see here.
They're all the way from India.
Yeah,
that
they have big
center. We do have a Tibetan group here, and the masters did friends with them. They're the master.
Yeah.
He was at our ceremony. The Louisville Tibetan master.
Right here, you see that the band shares many Mahayana teaching, also believes special techniques can harness spiritual energy, lead to nirvana in a single lifetime. That's what they focus in. And that's what they do, chanting the esoteric tradition. All right, so let's.
What's that word?
It's kind of like something you beyond.
The physical.
Yeah, it's
like out there.
yeah.
Ritualistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sometimes.
Yeah,
Really specific.
the real ritualistic one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it would be, so if you were having an esoteric conversation, you would be having a spiritual conversation where you probably couldn't sit down and chart it out in math or something like that. Like it's not so concrete and of this world. It's sort of beyond our senses.
It can be really hard to understand.
Therefore hard to describe.
Right here, see that they yeah, what they call Vajrayana, this all kind of image, the fearful one, a nice one, and so forth. What they call the tantric tradition there. Yeah. All right, so let's move on then. Yeah. Yeah, please, Miss Kristen.
Whatever the distinctive variations that characterize the great diversity of Buddhist communities, all have in common a recognition that individuals embark on the path to enlightenment by establishing a relationship of dependence upon those compassionate and perfectly enlightened beings who have gone before them, upon their teachings and upon the community of beings who embody their higher level of spiritual progress along the middle path. So, I mean, as a Buddhist, you always pay reverence to the Buddha, the Dharma, which is teaching, and then the Sangha, which in that context, it means like, of course, the structure of the Buddhist monks and nuns and those that those that are more attained than we are.
So all the tradition, you know, whether it's Theravada, Mahayana, or Vajrayana, focus on compassion, focus on mindfulness practice, focus on mindfulness,
I mean, all
middle
three,
path,
all
or the
three,
basic, basic or foundation. I mean that the similar teaching.
yeah.
The different people practice. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, all three traditions say.
Okay. Yeah. We had
Subject of devotion in Buddhism has been a vexed one for Western scholars. While it has been long acknowledged that some Buddhist traditions have strong devotional elements, these have usually been interpreted as relatively late disability developments, often in response to needs unrelated. In the earliest tradition, so the line of this analysis goes, is largely free from devotion and ritual worship. The Buddha was a human being, not a god, and his early monastic followers regarded him as nothing more than a teacher. In this life, even the traditional practice of going from refuge to the part of Buddha appears problematic, for he has disappeared from the cycle of rebirth and thus cannot provide his followers with refuge. What sense is there then in making offerings to the Buddha, and what value could this have in a religion that so strongly emphasizes self-reliance and personal realization of the truth? That was a lot. I don't know.
Well, it's just kind of like how we were talking about how Mahayana, so like a devotional practice would be like in Mahayana, we repeat the names of the Buddhas or over and over. Probably that's reborn there. So that's a devotional practice. In the Theravada traditions, like I said earlier, they will specifically tell you the Buddha is long gone, but still they're highly reverent. They're highly reverent of his image, offering him food, even though they say he's not going to. So the question comes up, well, why do all these things in Theravada if, you know, it's about cultivating your own path. If it's not about believing anyone, it's about, you know, working this step by step. And I've, so I've had this explained to me. You know, we're not worshiping the Buddha. What we're doing is we are respecting this teaching that has given us this path to free ourselves. So within a lot of Buddhism is you practice. So also practice, which in all forms of Buddhism, being reverent to people higher up than you is very important anyway. So even though they're not like worshiping the Buddha or, you know, giving him food because I think he's going to come eat it at night, it's a part of showing your generosity. It's a part of showing your appreciation.
Is that daily?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, let me share with you this video clip. You see that they bow on the road.
Yeah.
You seen this, Miss Nia, before? So Nathan, have you seen them bowing on the road in Taiwan?
Yes.
Everywhere, or just at the big temple?
I've seen it at the temple, but there was one monk who lived in my city, and he pulled a cart and then would bow. They had a big statue of the Buddha on the cart. And last I checked, I think he's been doing it for, I might be wrong, but I think 6 years.
He's still doing that?
Yes. He's almost done. I think he had 2 more years to go.
Around Taiwan?
No, just around the city. He
city.
cycles around.
That's what they call devotional. maybe you're surprised, Miss Nia. What do you think?
Are they doing it to the Buddha?
No, yeah, they bow. Yeah. What do you think? It's too much?
People have their own ways to show their appreciation. I lived in Morocco during COVID, and you know, I stayed with a family, and she prostrated herself 5 times a day to pray.
Which one? The Muslim?
She's Islamic.
Islam. Okay, yeah.
Muslims, this is kind of a cheap thing, but you can tell how devoted they are by looking at the tops of their feet. The tops of their feet, if they're actually really praying 5 times a day, will have these really pretty gross looking blisters.
And she also twirled her finger when she prayed, and her rug that she prayed on had a hole in it.
Oh, really?
She had a nervous habit of doing this with her finger when she was praying.
On the row?
On her rug. She put her rug down to pray. There was a hole in it.
Wow.
I had a devout Muslim man come live with me for a while, and this was actually the reason I decided to get serious about my meditation practice. Was because I saw what kind of like quality person he was by always doing his prayers 5 times a day, like following. So it was a really great example of seeing how now Islam doesn't speak to me. Right. Like I just really, but in seeing that, I was like, oh, I need to, of course I didn't feel like praying. I was like, oh, I need to take up a meditation practice or something, because I saw like, because he would, you know, it got me in, I mean, he really helped get my life turned around, like working out every day, eating well, getting rid of all the like nonsense out of your life. You know, so like I said, Islam wasn't for me, but I definitely saw what like what results that produced, and I was like, oh, I need results like that. Yeah, absolutely.
I have a Muslim student, so during the fasting periods, I think Ramadan, and the whole families fast during the day and eat at night.
It's really, so I've done that. Yeah, I've done it too. It's hard to do here because that time of year, the sun doesn't start going down until like 9 o'clock. So in this country, it's a lot harder than in some of the other countries, but yeah.
So they just eat the one meal at night?
Oh yeah, late at night a lot.
Yeah. We might eat at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then you don't have anything at all until the sun sets.
Yeah.
And then they have like just a spread, man, like all kinds of yummy stuff.
Do we know what they're observing in particular?
Ramadan?
Yeah.
It's to make you thankful.
Yeah.
To understand the plight of hungry people and homeless people and what it's like to be hungry and what it's like to be thirsty.
That's relatable. Okay.
They have this other holiday, Eid, which is super bloody if you're in a Muslim country, because they're, you know, they're slaughtering animals. But to do that,
it happens.
Yeah. So I mean, but everybody buys like a sheep or something, and so it's traditional. So of course
ceremonial, yeah.
And
but every family butchers their own.
Yeah, the young boys are expected to do that, but they have a very specific amount they keep for themselves. They have a specific amount they give to their like neighbors and relatives, and then a specific amount to the homeless people who are hungry.
Okay, thanks for
That's fun. In Buddhism, well, we stay away from those kind of killings. No way.
I hardly ever saw beggars, but during Eid, and during Ramadan, usually women, they didn't have a great social welfare system in Morocco. So like if your husband dies, you don't have kids, you're kind of you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
You know, there's not enough employment, even if you are a healthy male. there's not
Educated.
jobs. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not jobs. So there was a lot of women on the streets.
Yeah.
Nathan, so when you were in Taiwan or even at home, you do some kind of bowing? You follow along with them?
Yes.
How many times? What are the most number of bowing that you did with them?
In
100,
the temple,
100, 1000?
well, we do 100 at the temple in St. Louis sometimes on Tuesdays. They do 100
Okay.
because they have the book of 10,000 Buddha names, and then we bow to each Buddha. And I did a pilgrimage at the temple, the 3 steps, 1 bow.
How far?
I don't even remember. It was
Can
it
you
was
explain to them what's meant by 3 step, 1 bow? They don't understand. You understand that?
What?
Yeah, Nathan, explain. They don't understand what mean by 3 step, 1 bow. Go ahead.
a pilgrimage with 3 steps, 1 bow is like basically what it sounds like. You take 3 steps and then you do a full prostration to the ground. So in the temple that I was in, we did it from one side of the temple all the way up into the Buddha statue and then chanted. So it took like a couple hours um, to make it all the way to the statue. So it's in kind of like the video that you showed, except for they would, 3
Inside
steps.
the temple. Inside the temple is more clean, right? Than on the street, right?
I mean, the temple is big enough that it has a street, so we were bowing on the temple's street. It was the big monastery, so like we had to do it along the side of the road, and then into the area with the statue.
You are
So
the, you are only one, or are there some Westerner or American people bow along with you?
it was the big retreat, so 65 Western people were all
Everyone,
bowing.
everyone bow.
Yes.
Wow, that's nice. It's my surprise for the local people, right?
Um,
Years of that.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to who was around me.
Oh, that's
I was
how
kind
was
of
that? Could you explain to them how was your feeling when you were bound, when you did that kind of pilgrimage? 3 step, 1 bow. Is it pretty hard on you,
yeah,
or a good exercise?
um it's hard, but um depending on how long you do it, afterwards you feel very proud and you feel that you've done something meaningful. And it hurts your knees, but it's okay. Um, if there's a book actually. Do you know Venerable Heng Sure? You must know Venerable Heng Sure. He
Yeah.
wrote a book and he has his journals from when he was doing his 2 year. So you can read every day what he thought when he was bowing. And
Yeah.
so I think it's meaningful to see what somebody so great, how they felt, because they talk about their struggles, but they talk about the reward, which is way bigger than my short pilgrimage.
He's my Dhamma brother in my lineage, and my grandmaster, Sư Yun, you know, right? He did
Hmm.
3 step, 1 bow on the road for more than around 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, straight.
One, yeah. My grandmaster, Sư Yun. Yeah.
You did it here.
He did once, huh?
You did it around here.
No, in China.
Oh.
In China. Let me share with you. His so basically, Hang Sure he can follow my grandmaster footstep. Let's see. Let me share first. Yeah.
Is it grandmaster like a master's minister?
What is that?
Is a grandmaster like a master's minister?
Yeah, that's what they call them. Step, 1 bow. This is one here, and actually, see in. Okay, this is the image here. That's my grandmaster here. They don't have his image of Bảo, but in Vietnam, Vietnamese monk, some of them they did that too right here. That's what Nathan just mentioned about his that Hung Sure.
Sure.
And his Dhamma master, the Dhamma brother too. Yeah.
It looks like if you do it, just pull up it quick on for you at home, even when you go home, if you look him up, there's that one bow. There is some video of him.
Which one?
Like it looks like there might be a documentary about him.
Let me type in Vietnamese so you can see. You see him. It's just this 2019. He bowed for Vietnam. Like that. See, 1, 2, 3, they bow down. Yeah, they worked probably about more than 2 years. Yeah, on the street like that. You go sweep the street onto them. You know, in Vietnam, it's pretty hot. It's tropical country. Yeah, the freeway is pretty hot. Yeah. You saw them, right, Nathan? You say that the Taiwanese monk he bow around his city. That's all.
Yeah. But he pulled a cart.
He pulled by himself. No Buddhist layers people to follow him.
No, by himself.
Himself. Yeah, probably these two monks when they bow to the city, this many Buddhists they just follow him. Yeah. Yeah, they still practice now. Yeah. Okay, so that's all. That's what they call devotional practice. Yeah.